The biographical and conflict of interest form is a key part of the planning of nursing education activities. Let's talk about how to complete that tool. The top section encompasses the title of the activity and the date education activity is being offered. The red box offers you some guidelines based on what role in planning this particular person you're completing the biographical form has, and which sections they should be sure are completed. This activity, we're talking about the role of nurse planner. As you can see, I checked X in the nurse planner section. Section 1, demographic data, outlines the name and credentials of the person this biographical form supports. As a nurse planner, it's key that RN credentials are listed there and that we can ensure that nurse planners have a minimum of a BSN requirement. All the information related to address, phone number, email contacts, and employer for that nurse planner. Section 2 identifies the expertise of the basic different roles on the planning committee. The first we'll talk about is a nurse planner. What is their experience in regards to this area, planning, evaluating, continuing nursing education activities? If this form were being completed for a content expert, in Section 2, under Expertise, we'd want to see what information and narrative described what makes them a content expertise. Is it their years in a certain area and specialty, publications? What is it about them that makes them an expert on the subject matter you want to begin planning? If your planning committee member is not a nurse planner, not the content expert, and they fill an other role on your planning committee, please indicate so and describe in the expertise section what other role they fill and the skills, expertise they bring to fulfilling that role. Section 3. If any of the above individuals are also happen to be a faculty, presenter, or author of the activity being planned, you can place an X on this very first line as long as you have also included expertise under Section 2, not only for their role on the planning committee, but their expertise as a faculty, presenter, or author of this continuing education activity. If you have not done that, if your faculty, presenter, or author has not been an active member of your planning committee, then under Section 3, you need to describe in detail their expertise related to their ability to deliver the planned subject matter. Section 4, another very important part of the conflict of interest biographical form, is the evaluation of the presence, absence, or potential of a conflict of interest with any member of the planning committee and all faculty, presenters, and authors. The nurse planner's bio should be completed and evaluated first. After that point, the nurse planner is responsible for evaluating the presence or absence of conflict of interest on all members of the planning committee and any speakers, authors, and presenters. Section 4 outlines some very critical definitions for evaluating and trying to determine whether or not a conflict of interest may be present. An yes or no X is required in the box immediately at the end of this section. And so the person on the bio form is declaring whether there is an actual potential or perceived conflict of interest for the spouse or partner as defined above, or themselves with a yes or a no. If yes had been selected, responsibility to also complete the sections below that under category and description for the type of relevant relationships that did exist. Section 5, Statement of Understanding, is a very important requirement for this form. It is that person's typed, handwritten, or electronic signature that certifies that yes, indeed, the above information is true and correct and is dated. Section 6, Conflict of Interest, is the wrap-up, follow-up by the nurse planner. In this case, this is a nurse planner bio form, so it needs to be evaluated by someone other than the nurse planner. Section 6A looks at anything applicable during that conflict resolution, whether there was no conflict or whether there's any kind of levels of resolution and actions taken in order to resolve the conflict. It is then signed by another member of the planning committee or individual who has knowledge of conflict of interest and CNE, qualifying that nurse planner as eligible to begin planning that activity.